atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you chase away my fears. I'm on my own. You made it.
Hello, welcome to Code Home Classroom. Um, we are going to continue with our UI. We're going to continue with our login UI. In the previous tutorial lecture, we ended with the background. Yeah, we ended with the background color. I've not a moment. Let me fix my. I don't know what. I showed you how to debug your code if it's not working. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, okay. No, this is not supposed to be here. Okay. So this is it for this. That's why we ended in our lecture 6, and we continue to design our login page. Okay. So let's go to the code now. I want us under the home page. I want us to create a section. Okay. I told you that section is just a box, a bigger box that we can code inside. So let's try. Let's see the lorem, the dummy test. Let's refresh to see. You can see that our test is in there. Okay, let's go back to the code. Okay, so in here we are supposed to create a box. Okay, a login box. Now one of the elements in using to create boxes, okay, or maybe a column or a row, is the div element. Okay, so inside there you can have plenty div elements. You can have plenty, you can copy and paste plenty, and what they are doing is just creating boxes, invisible boxes there that you can work inside. Okay, or other elements can go in there, or content can go in there. So with this element, we are going to have our login. Okay, we're going to have our login in there, but before that I want us to design the box. Okay, so let's put a dummy test inside. Let's save it. Let's go to the browser to go and see. Basically the same thing. Okay, so we have a box in there, but looking at our design, see that the box, the box background is white. Okay, the background is white. So let's go and set the color of the background of our div. Okay, the div element to white. Now we can equally come to the external CSS and call for the div element and say background color, or we can see my screen, background color white, and set it to white. Now you can do that, but I will not encourage you to do that, because that means any place in your website that you use a div element, it works. But any place in your website that you use a div element, you are going to have a background of white. Okay, if that is what you want. But I'm going to introduce you to an attribute, okay, to the element called class. Okay, so call a class, okay, or an ID. So I'm going to introduce you to two elements called class and IDs. Okay, and I'm going to explain what a class and ID is in HTML. Okay, what we use them for. So let's go back to our code. and we are going to delete this code from the external CSS. And let's go to the login page. So instead of just calling for this div element and change the background to white, of which is going to affect any div element we call. So if you call another div element here, the background is going to be white, and we don't want that. So we are going to make this div, okay, this box div, okay, unique. And one way of making it unique is by setting an ID or a class to it. So I'm going to start with class. So just call the class attribute to that particular. You can call a class for every element. That means I'm just giving it a unique identifier, unique identity. Okay, just like your, when you come to school, your index numbers, or maybe your course code. Okay, when you're in the school, or when you're in the, maybe in college, your course code is unique to the a particular program. Okay, so the class is going to be maybe class 1, class 2. Okay, it's unique to a particular type of people. Okay, and when you are in school, and let's say you are in class 1 or primary 1 or grade 1, okay, that's a class. One thing that you can take notice is that a class can contain a lot of students. Let's say 20 students, you are in one class. Okay, so when we use classes here, so the class, when you say the class, you give a name to the class. So this div, when I call for the class attribute, I give the name of the class. So let's say I call it login box. Let's say login box underscore box. Okay, or let me use the camel case. Okay, login, and then I make the capital, the B capital, that's the camel case. Like it's like the back of a camel. I call it camel case. Okay, camel case. So the first letter is a lower case, and the second letter will be an uppercase. So starting from down there, it goes up like that. That's camel case, a type of naming. Okay. So login box. So the class. So this div is having a class name login box. So any design that any style we apply to the login box is going to affect only this div. Do you get me? It's going to affect only this div. So let's go to our CSS. Now, how do we call for the div? You see, in calling for an element in HTML, you just have to type the element name, but the div is not an element. So you could see that the color didn't even change. Do you get me? But when I call for any element that the browser knows for CSS, you know that the section is an element. But when I say login box, that's why I advise you to use Sublime Text. From this, it even shows you that the login box is an element, so there must be something wrong with our code. Okay, now in order to call for a class name, okay, in a CSS, you just have to use a dot and you add a class name to it, login box. So the color has changed beautifully. So whether the class name is Kofi, Dominic, Jamestown, Washington DC, whenever you are calling for that class to apply a styling to it, you just have to start with a dot and you add a class name and your curly braces come. Okay, so now I can say, let me save this work for you to know that, and save here for you to know that I've not applied any changes to it and it's working. Okay, so let's go and refresh. So you see there's no white background there. Very good, that's what I wanted you to know. Let's go back to our code. So the login box has been called in the CSS file. So let's set the background color to white. That's white. We save it. We go back to our browser and refresh. It's working perfectly. Fantastic. Now let's go back to our working area. So one thing we can see from the design is that the login box is down, okay, and you can see it is a little bit centered with margins at the left left uh, left side and the right side. Now we can equally achieve that by pressing in the box. That means by using a padding on it to padding the box, okay. And I want us to do that by using padding. Let's go to our code, the login box. We are still on the login box. Let's say padding, let's say 50 pesos. Let's go to our browser to see. Okay, so our box, yeah, so we are compressing the text inside the box, but that's not what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to achieve the top and the side. So I think we have to use a margin. Let's go and apply the margin to it. Let's try margin. Now you can use margin top, margin right, but you can equally also use margin. Okay, when I say 50, to apply it to all the sizes at once. So of doing margin top, margin left, margin right, margin bottom, that means maybe you want to apply different sizes area, okay. But if you want the same size, okay, just write margin and to apply to all the sizes at once. So let's go to our browser, save and go to your browser. Let's go and refresh. Let's see. Okay, fantastic. It's working. It's working. That means we can compress in more. But one thing is that for the sake of browsers, okay, different browsers and different devices. Now, if you use pixels, it will just count the pixels on the screen. But one thing is that the trick, you can equally use percentage, okay, so that even if it is on a mobile phone, it picks from the top 50%, 50%, 50%, 50%, and compress it inside. So let's go and try the percentage instead to see. That's really weird. You can see that it's really compressed it out, and I think that let's reduce it to see. Let's reduce it to 10%. Let's go and check. 10%. Let's go 20%. You just want to get it into the center. Let's say 30%. You always have to play with. See, you just have to play with the designs. Okay. Let's go and see the changes. Voila. I think it's okay for us. Yes. It's in the center. You can see that the height from the top is just the same. So it's just in the center. Yeah, it's just in the center for us. Okay. So we have our login page there. Let's go to our code. We have our box. Let's go to our design rather. Now, behind the design, you could see there's a shadow. I don't know whether you can see. There's a shadow behind. I placed the UI, okay, the UI on the Telegram page. So if you're not on the Telegram page, there's a link below to the Telegram page. I will encourage you to join the Telegram page, because when I do the UI, I save them as an image file and put it on the page for them to download, so they can look on it and just code along. So behind the box, there's a shadow, a box shadow, okay, and I want us to achieve it, achieve that achieve that design. So let's go, so that we raise it. You can see that the login is a little bit raised, okay. Okay, yeah. So let's go to our code and go and achieve that. So how to achieve that box shadow is just by calling the property box shadow. Okay, now we have the box shadow deals with the XY axis and the shadow, okay, the color, you just add the shadow color to it. Okay, so the XY and the XY axis, and you set the opaque, okay, and you add a color to it. So basically, let's say 10 pesos, 10 pesos, 10 pesos, solid, and the color, I'm going to use an ash, a white color, so that we can see it well, because it's on a dark background. So I have my shadow. I don't know whether you can see it, but I have the shadow there. Let me increase it a bit. Let's just play with the, so I increase it to 30, 30, 30, 30. Let's go and check. I want it to be quite visible for you. Oh, it's not showing. I'm doing something wrong. Oh no, the color. Okay, okay. uh I was doing something wrong. So let's go back to the code. Delete the solid. There's no solid, it's just the color, and we are good to go. So let's just change. Let's save it and go and refresh it. Oh yeah, so that's a box shadow. Let's go and reduce the size to, I think the 10 will do. Go back to the browser, refresh. uh, for you to see it in a card form, like it's a card, it goes down down. One of the uh, I think let's change it to 4 pixels. Okay, 4 pixels will do. 4 pixels to just change the box shadow size to 4 pixels, and let's go to the browser. It's still not okay. Let's to get, yes, I think 4 pixels is okay for the eyes. Okay, 4 pixels is okay for the eyes. So uh, yeah, let's go back to our UI. So we have, I think I my the let guys, let's do the exact thing. Okay, our box shadow is too showing. Okay, it's too showing. Let's go and reduce. All that you have to do is just reduce the size. So let's say 2 pixels. It should just be a little bit raised, not really showing. Okay, just play with the design, and what suits your eyes, you just have to accept it. Now it's a little bit raised. You could say it's raised, but it looks like a card. Okay, yes. So it looks like a card. Now let's go to our design. We have our login title there and the input field. Okay, so we go to our login page. Let's clear this. So we have our login. Basically, maybe I'll use h3. Type my login. Let's go and check. Okay, so we have our login in there. Okay, but the font style is not really nice. It's not really catchy. Okay, and I want us to change the font style. So let's go to the code. I think I'm going to code straight and we'll go and refresh. Okay, so in the star.html star.css, let's go and give a font family to h3. Okay, let's say with all no with all our website we are going to use one font family, not different ones. So we use the asterisk to select all. So font family, let's say Roboto. No, font style, no, font family, save it. Let's go to our browser and check whether that's working, and we will code straight throughout and come and refresh. Okay, so it's working. So let's go to our code and just get a straight code. So in our design, this was supposed to be centered, so you just have to align center. Yeah, so we center it, and the input fields follow. We have a placeholder in there, enter username, enter, and the button. Okay, so let's go straight to the code and let's code them. So we have input. Now this is a box, mind you. Okay, but for you to create a form, there's an element for a form called form, as simple as that. So everything in the form goes in there. Okay, so we have input field. So to get an input field, just simply type input. The type means text. Okay, text means that for username, if it is email, you just write email here. So the input type, you are taking a test. The name, I'll get to that. We have another input type, which is for password. Now I'll leave it as test now, and I'll explain something to you here. We have our button, login. Okay, so let's go and check our input login now. So we have our input field, but it's a basic input field, and I want us to design. No, I want us to design this part. Okay, I want us to design the input field to suit the UI that we were doing. Okay, so as I said, how do we get the input fields to go down so that they will not be stuck together on the same line? It's just by using the element break. Okay, so let's go in there. We're going to break this so that the other one goes to the next line. Okay, and the button also, we're going to break it from this input. It goes to the next line. Let's go to our website to go and check. Very good. So we have them there. Okay, now we have to style these. Okay, so with the form also, I'm going to give it a class. Okay, so I can apply a padding on it, but I'm going to do an ID instead. So I explain an ID and a class to you. So instead of a class, I'm going to write an ID and just write form, name it form. Okay, so when I go to the class, the style.css, how do I call an ID? We don't call it by using the dot, but with ID we call it by using the hash value or pound, wherever you are watching from, whether pound or hash, and we call for form. That's how to call for an ID. Now the difference between an ID and a class is that a class can contain many students, but an ID is specifically to a student. Okay, so if you are like an index number, for instance, nobody can use an index number. you are the only person entitled to your school index number. Okay, so with an ID, if I use an ID on an element, it means that I can't use an this ID form on any other element here. If I want the same style to, let's say I create a div, another div here. Now I want the same style that I apply to the form ID to be applied to maybe the background color for this one. I can't say form here. It will not work because it's an ID. ID means it is for only this particular element, which is the form element. But when I say a class, I can equally apply this login box here as a class, not an ID, but as a class, and it will work because a class can have many students. So many elements on this same page can use this class design. Okay, class design. But when I go to another page, I can equally call for the ID form. ID can only be used once in a particular page, on a particular page. Okay, so let's take note of the difference between an ID and a class and how to also call for them in your CSS file. So with the form, you're going to apply a padding on it. Okay, let's say 16 pixels. So with the form, you're going to apply a padding on it, 16 pixels. And let's refresh. You can see that it's moving. Okay, and but our form, our input field is small. But let's look at our design. Okay, our design looks more stretched. So let's go to our code. It's going to be a little bit lengthy, but let's follow. Okay, now we can equally call the element input and work with them instead of creating a class, or you can use a class or an ID on it. You can equally come here and come and write a class here. Okay, let's say, let me use a class. So let me come here. You can put a name of a class. Let me call this one username, class, password. So when I come here, dot username, let's say the width, let me set it to 100% to see something. Okay, always try, just play with the whether pixels or use percentages, and let us see. Very good. So it has stretched to the end. That's exactly what I was looking for. So I can copy the same thing, paste it, but just change the class name to I'm coming. Just have to switch my screen. Guys, forgive me for that. Okay, switch my screen for you to see what I'm doing. So I just have to copy this. I want the same thing for the login password. Copy, paste it for, and I change the name to the class name for password. Okay, because when you come here, we have a class name for username, class, password, the same thing. Okay, so let's go to our browser, go and refresh. We have the same thing for the username. Now let's paste in it a bit. Now I can equally say margin top here. Let us paste in the username and the password input field. Okay, now I can continue by saying using break, but I can also say use margin top for the password. Margin top, let's say 20 pixels. Okay, and refresh the page. See, so it is a little bit separated now. Now what about our button? The same thing. Let's go to our code. Let's go and give our button a class. Okay, the reason I'm using a class is maybe tomorrow I'll be creating more buttons and I want to use the same style on it. So on the button I create a class for it called, let's say, login, name it login button, btn. Save it, go to my styles, how to call for a button, dot login button btn. Hope you can see my screen. the width 100%. 100% means taking the width of the box that it is inside. Okay, that's why I'm using 100%. So let's go to our browser. So guys, we are almost there. You see, you can see that I can click on my button. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So we have to start. Uh, let's go to our design to go and have a look. Okay, the button is a little bit also away from the other input field. So let's go back to our code. Let's go and give it a margin top. Margin top 10 pixels. Okay. Refresh. It's separated. Okay. Now you can see from our design that the there's a text inside the input field, and the input field is having a curve at its angles. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to achieve that. So inside your input field, there's an attribute. You know how to add an attribute to it. Class an attribute, type is an attribute. So you know how to add it. Just come inside the input element and just add an attribute. An attribute called placeholder. Just write enter. Inside the placeholder, you write enter username. You come to the next one, do the same thing. Just copy, come and paste it here. Okay, let me correct that. Say enter password. Let's save it. Go to our browser. We're almost there. So we have our enter username, enter password. Okay, so I'm going to end here for you to follow to this point, and the next point, in the next tutorial, we are going to add the designs to it. Yes, we are going to add the colors, we are going to do the shapes, and all these. See, when we click on our inside our login, this blue, we are going to write a code whereby it will not be showing. Okay, and the login, we're going to start the login. It's going to be more nicer than this. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. I told you I don't want our tutorial to be lengthy, but this 33 minutes. Forgive me, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Okay, bye bye.
You